Second try. Major connectivity issues today here in the kitchen at 2:14 in the afternoon. Definitely not actually a morning coffee, but I'm gonna take us downstairs to the basement with a cuppa. Still drinking coffee at 2:14 in the afternoon, for better or worse. So we'll head down the old stairwell here into the former mortuary prep room, and we'll see what we can get done down here. Let's root around in it. So here we are, down at the bottom of the staircase here. I like for you guys to get a view. Walk in past the wood room, and Cody, good to see you. And the old glue rolling bench and sanding bench. And behind me, we got the shaping table and drilling table. And then we got your old, got a standard mold and a long mold and a sweet little cutter and a sweet little sander there. And it's a nice little space down here. It's been taking on a really good flavor lately for me. Being out of the market aspect, you know, I was heavy in the market aspect of this work for a good while. Here, let's come over here and pick up this is not my favorite tripod, but Steve-O sent me a tripod early on. This was also sent to me by a good friend. This is one of the more useful. Steve-O sent me a flexible little octopus gripper tripod that I really have enjoyed using. It's been very, very helpful. Let's set this bad boy up over here. See what kind of angle you guys can have. I like you to be able to see where I am, what I'm doing in here. Looks like there's gonna be some shenanigans. I gotta dial this tighter. It's starting to loosen up. And put this up top here. See if I can get it in there. I did get it in there. Here we go. And then make a little bench space here. I like that. That's a good view. Now you can kind of tell what I'm doing here. So, and if I show you it's good for you to see the ceiling is covered with boards, and floor has still got sawdust on it from when I was making lots of boards, but not so much making boards lately. I got the old iPad here, and I was going to do the live feed on it, but it's got a huge format lens on it. Hard to put it in a good spot. I've never counted, Cody. I've never counted the boards on my ceiling. That number does change. In fact, you know what's not a good idea here? Let me grab my coffee real quick. I grab a charger too. This phone is not really in a good state of charge, so I'm gonna plug in one of these aftermarket chargers on the phone there. Don't know how many boards are on the ceiling, but the number is changing because this Saturday I had a local Cincinnati guy, lifetime Cincinnati local, come over and get his second board. I sold him a used board off the ceiling because he didn't want to get anything but one of my boards, and I really appreciate that. And he's a friend, but he bought a used board, not very heavily used, off the ceiling, and I told him whatever, an unrecommended donation, and he paid me $60 for it, which it was worth. Very lightly used. And the board he was replacing was 10 years old, and he'd been skating it. And finally, it just broke. I think it was just tired of living. And that's how maker-made boards can be. It's not rocket science. But being a Cincinnati local, he wanted to reminisce about his enthusiasm for fickle boards and for my workshop, and being a dad, he was really excited that there are options emerging in skateboarding that are interesting for his kids, and we had a nice conversation. There's a bit of a bitter spot in it because to this day, skateboarding here, as in many cities, revolves around the local skate shop. And early on, before I even started Fickle Boards, I had pissed off my local skate shop because I'm just not buying what they're selling. I don't mean the products. I bought a lot of what they were selling. But as a man, I wasn't buying the strong flavor of elitism, hardcore jock localism. I wasn't buying the subtle and unsubtle violence that was pervasive in the scene. And as an outspoken man, driven by my conscience, I have, since I moved here, basically year 2000, I've let that be known to people I talk with. That's not going to change, and it's not a bad habit. And once again, I had a guy in my workshop telling me about going to the local skate shop and telling me the things that get said over the counter about me. And being just struck with like layers, like wave upon wave of irony and scandal because of the things that they get to say because they own the bully pulpit. They've got the counter, and they can say whatever they want over the counter, and that stands as gospel in the community. And some cities have skate shops that don't really care about makers. They don't get it. They're not interested in exploring. I mean, I've got a skate shop I know in my mind right now. It's hours and hours away. I have a warm, respectful relationship with the owner of the skate shop. They know that I'm outspoken, and they largely agree with me. They don't carry my boards, never did carry my boards. My boards don't really exist right now. My work is living on through life skateboards right now. And I'm taking this opportunity to talk about things. But at the local skate shop, the guy boiled it down. His takeaway was, they said, Lou's a good guy. He makes really good skateboards. That's two very nice things to say about me. And then he talks a lot. And that's almost like enough around here locally. That's enough to let people know not to be around you. If certain people say certain things, that's a real strong. Talking a lot is not allowed. And then the fourth thing, good guy, good skateboards, talks a lot. Then this is where it came down, where they were given the pill. But Lou is capitalizing, trying to make money off of an image of, I guess, being a skateboarder or something. And that's where, let me give you a better critique of me, what they could have said. Lou is, he's a kook and a loudmouth, makes good boards, but he doesn't understand skateboarding because he's not ever been sponsored and he never was good enough. And he really doesn't belong in the industry because the industry is owned, you don't have a right to be in the industry and make a contribution unless you have done certain tricks. I think we could go with like the Jamie Thomas or the Andrew Reynolds or maybe even the Ricky Oyola standard on those. And that's, hey, that's a perspective that people have. And it's a good conversation to have. But I'm trying to capitalize on an image. That one really galls me. I mean, this is from a long time ago too, but it's still here. It's still where I live. This is still what I live among. Trying to capitalize on an image. Are you looking at an image? Are you looking at a guy who's trying to pretend to be something he's not? You're looking at the culmination of labor. And make no mistakes, friends, it's It's because of the violence of this crew of people who are not a small crew. They're not without great influence. Among them are former high-level 90s and 2000 AMs and high-level pros who've got their place in Thrasher magazine. And I can tell that whatever I do locally is going to be just like war. 2 times within 6 weeks, I actually had a chance to have a face-to-face talk. Caught the shop owner on the coffee line, and 2 times, both times, he reared back to punch me in the face for being conciliatory and for addressing that, hey, look, we've got different ways of advertising. We've got different social approaches, but we're in the same community. We should really be working together to increase the number of parks, and we should leverage our conflict into market dominance. We should go ahead and we should run, like, make fun of the kooks, and then critique the elitism, and just let the customers choose who they want to club up with, and then do events together where the kooks and the cool guys can come together and do a barbecue. And just let oh my goodness, friends, I had barely finished both times when reared back, balled up his fist and said, "You better step back," and who's gonna hit me in the face? Coffee shop it happened in both times wrote me a message. I have that message, and it's just a fact that the guy had to be told, don't come in this coffee shop if you're going to threaten to hit people. And I'm like, man, over the counter you can say whatever you want about me, but if I try to talk to you, you're going to threaten to hit me, and I'm supposed to take it. I'm supposed to say nothing. Supposed to just let it be that way, and that's what I live in over here. That's what I'm living in. I just found a spot where those broken ribs are just killing me, where I broke my ribs. I'm going to stick my thumb in that while we talk and see if I can get that to loosen up. That's definitely a part of the problem. Oh, yeah. Man, I'm crushed physically. Definitely crushed with, got a bad foot from Achilles tendonitis and tendinosis, and I got a clicky hip from dislocating it when I was a kid, and I got a mid-back injury from the ribs being broken, and I got a low back injury from the ribs being broken. My friends, it is upon me, the age of man being aged. But man, I'll tell you, when something sticks in my craw, I gotta talk to you about it. You're my friends, if you're my friends. And if you're not my friends, at least I got to reach some of my friends. And wow, I'm seeing Alcarad. You're making a good comment. He comments, a lot of older pros would never in a million years be sponsored today. The bar to sponsorship is so high today. I hate when people use the "you were never sponsored" card. There are unsponsored skaters in my local throwing trays down big shit and no one cares. 2 decades ago, that would be a pro move. Well, here's another thing. I never claimed to be a better skateboarder than you, and that's why you should buy my brand of work. That has never been my deal. I started a brand based on quality boards, and I said, no matter who skateboards well or not, these boards are better than those boards. That was the big rule I broke right off the bat. That was this batch of boards I have hanging on my wall with the candy graphics on them. And when I started pressing my own, I was certain in the beginning that it was a high chance I'd fail to make good boards, but I wound up exceeding the quality of those, period. Truth. Demonstrably true over the last 10 years. That made those guys really mad. My former OEM used to come on my social media and say, you shouldn't be so hard on people who make skateboards, and you shouldn't say things about the industry. But hey, here's a fact. If somebody wants to sell a board brand by telling me they're better than me, and that's why I should want their board, fine. Fine. It won't work. But it'll work for someone, and they're going to make money, and I have no problem with it. Because they're capitalizing on an image. And I mean, God bless all those people in there, because you're not going to be that good forever. But me, I am capitalizing. Right now, I'm moving into being a content creator and a culture and industry commentator. You can see it happening right now with 120 followers on my Facebook and my Makers Movement friends. I'm moving into being a commentator on industry and on culture. And I'm telling you, there's a massive shift where a retailer who is capitalizing on an image of being the cool guy, the Pope of local skateboarding and like that, that's fine. And I'm capitalizing on being an advocate for higher value and higher character and higher authenticity in board production. I'm not willing to sit down and just let the opportunity go by for a decentralized network of makers across the country to discover this simple, hardy, awesome, satisfying, authentic craft in skateboarding. And here's a newsflash, Walter Cronkite. We're not great skaters, all of us. Not every one of us can be some great skateboarder. I mean, I think of like Frank Purcelli, Ben Butler. I think of people with like amazing skateboarding behind them in the past and presently going on. But I also think of people like Pete's Pigs. Pete, he's an amazing skateboarder, but he's a low-skill warrior. He's a low-talent soldier. And his skateboarding is really, boy, oh boy, he inspires me. And he'd never make the cut for today, yesterday, or before. Maybe in the 70s, 80s, Pete would be pro. I don't care. I care how the board feels. I care about the feel. I care about the feel of what's under my feet, and I want to buy my boards from somebody who both cares about it and succeeds in pressing solid quality laminate that just feels great, lasts a while, and is everything I wanted from a board. And who could do a custom shape for me, do something of higher value for my, like I've got a little bit of a quiver. I've got a long board. It has like an 18-inch wheelbase. It's out of this mold here. And I love it. Soft wheels, big soft wheels on it. I did a huge push thing on it a couple months ago. That board is never going to break or be worn out or even razor tail. That thing is my pusher. It's my pump track board. And I like it because it was made by someone who cared about the quality of it, me. But I would buy that same setup today from Life Skateboards where my molds are sitting, not my long mold, but they have great long molds at Life, longer than mine. And there's a rise of this sort of thing going on here. It's no longer good enough for the owner of a non-domestic manufacturing factory to go on an Instagram post and tell me that I can't do what he can do because the glue is proprietary. Man, I'll tell you this, on Titebond 2, you can exceed the typical quality of that very manufacturing outfit today, making sick boards in a garage. And that means something. That means that you can make a contribution that you were never allowed to in the past because you weren't good enough on your skateboard. The contribution you can make is you can get under and lift under a skateboarder. You can make a difference in how they feel about what I think is the soul of skateboarding is the board. It's right there in the word. And let's talk about the old contribution. I'm better than you. Buy this branded merchandise with my name on it that I didn't make. I don't know, guys. That's a compelling difference to me in how I choose to buy things. And that's a compelling difference to me. I would rather wear a brand shirt that has the word of the manufacturer who supplies me with something that I really believe in and can trust with a relationship with me, than I'd rather wear some other person's brand name on my back. But that's just me. That's how I feel. Some of you feel similarly. Some of you might feel differently after hearing me say it than before. And this is what coffee talks are about. But it rankles me that I live in a city where someone can say he's a good guy, but he talks too much. And then they can say that I'm capitalizing on an image. I'm still capitalizing. You know what I need? I need capital. I need money. I can't travel and see you if I don't find a way to make money. If I do labor and do work, I am entitled to remuneration, and so are you. Do labor, do work, create something, make something of value, and then those who value it will remunerate you. What is the problem with making money? By the way, all this making money I was supposed to have been doing during the 10 years during which I've been blacklisted from Indiana events, Indiana venues, Cincinnati events and Cincinnati venues, even a DIY that I early on helped put money into and helped to build. What's with the blacklisting? What's with all that? What great sin have I committed? What great problem have I made by profiling a contrast between quality and authenticity of what we've been given versus the quality and authenticity of what so many other people are going to be able to give? What's the big crime of profiling craft-made skateboarding and making an effective argument that it's superior on certain metrics? There's certain metrics upon which craft-made skateboards is a superior thing. One place it's not superior is in volume. You're just not going to be able to find craft-made skateboards as easily as you can go in and find a factory board with a candy graphic on it. And you also, another metric where craft-made skateboards fail is that they don't have the "I'm better than you, buy my board" names and brands using craft-made skateboards. I know that there was a run of boards that were made by a maker, all California style, all out of California. That was neat. Why not? Here's why. I mean, I had a whole brand that we were talking about having a press that was like, this is their press with their name on it, and I'll press a craft line of boards for them out of my workshop. I'd still do that. But they put the kibosh on it because it has to sell at premium price. It's a premium quality, premium heart, premium process skateboard. It's got to be priced right. You have to price things right. And so that fell apart. But you know what? I maintain my standard. Heck yeah. I'd love Made by Lou Ross, burned under one of the trucks. I'd love to make a line of boards, 50 a month, 20 a month, to sell for $85 a pop to people who love my work. But brands nowadays, they're afraid to market premium price stuff. Meanwhile, Life Skateboards has put up Life Skateboards is exactly the same process as this, except cutting. Life, instead of using, I'm going to grab one, okay? Instead of using, I grabbed two. Instead of using floppy top-down templates to cut the boards, and instead of putting the holes in last like I do, Life Skateboards uses solid flat templates with pegs, puts the holes in first, cuts around the pegs, and then finishes the board out from there. This is the only difference. So I ride Life Skateboards, and I have a friendship with Life Skateboards. My presses are at Life Skateboards. It's 2 hours away. It's less than 2 hours away from me. I drive there, where I'm going to be doing videos from there. On, I think, the 5th of February, there's going to be a bowl jam there, at which I will not skate very much. That bowl shuts me down every time. Who knows? We'll see if we can, I don't know. I'd really like to film more stuff for you guys now that I know what I'm doing. Now that I know that I want to go where you are, show what you're doing, and build out the American and international understanding that craft-made skateboards, the value, the authenticity, the relationship, it can be everywhere. Brandon Stevens, good to see you, my friend. So yeah, I will be irked. You will see me irked by certain things. And one thing that does irk me, and I will not be unirked by this, is that there is a core of influential people in my region who feel free to give their take on me. But if I try and talk to them, I get assaulted or menaced or threatened. And that is just not good for anyone. What ought to happen is they ought to call me up and say, well, we're really sorry. Let's get to know each other better. Let's do better. And because I know it. I've pissed off the big boys. I have pissed off the big boys, and I'm not going to be able to stop because there's work that needs to be done. I have pissed off the big boys a lot. And for over the years, one of the things I had to do was shut down my business so that if I speak these words, my business won't be lost. I got that out of the way. So now, as a content creator, I can speak freely about what we're in. And it won't stop the content creation if I can no longer sell anything anywhere. And I'll let my friends over at Life Skateboards do the great work they're doing and do that separate. And I'm going to create content and talk to us all about what we're in here. Because what we're in is we're at a pivotal moment or season. We're in a pivotal YouTube. YouTube's killing me. We're at a pivotal moment where people are discovering the value of the regional maker, the local maker, or even the domestic maker. People want a Pete's Pigs cut board from Pete. They love it. They want a Life Skateboards. They want a Johnny Manic skateboard because you know the people who made it. It's not about being better than you at skateboarding, therefore buy my branded product. And soon, honestly, I have to say, in the coming decade, I could see it really changing to where people are less interested in a brand than they are. Boy, I'll tell you, this internet connectivity, less interested in brands than they are in makers is probably going to rise. And it might, I want to be part of that by creating this content. So I guess I'll have to end. I get accused of being a shill. I got accused of being, I'm going to end it with this. I have been accused of capitalizing on an image. Sure, I am capitalizing unashamedly. I am venturing to provide you guys with something of value, and I'll find a way to, whether through patronage or through selling things, we're going to monetize it, put me on the road, and get me out there profiling this movement of makers that's not just in America. I'd like to be flown out to Australia and show you what's going on there. But that's mostly an excuse to go see Australia. I'm not going to do that this year, next year, or the year after that. Who knows? But I care about you, even though I might not know you personally. And if you knew me personally, you might not like me so much. I could shoot the internet in the head right now. So I'm going to get off here because it likes to break up. But I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Thanks for joining me today.